Welcome back to The Inspired Entrepreneur with Heather Hope. Hey guys, welcome back. How was your week? Happy Sunday or happy Saturday, guys. I'm actually recording this last night, which is Friday night. And now I feel like if you've been with me for a while, I did some recordings at night and I had this vibe. It's only 7:45, but I had this like nighttime podcast vibe, radio vibe going that night. I remember that I recorded a few of these that one night, like real late. Anyway, I feel that way. Okay, so if you listened to yesterday's podcast, that was a bit longer, which I think is okay. I was very talkative, and yes, I put it in the comment section that the mailman did. I have to be careful. My dog is sitting next to me, and I may trigger him with these words, but the mail did come, and my Social Security. It was actually the receipt of that it was done, and so I was excited. I just kind of knew that it was there. And then so I went to the MVD today, the Motor Vehicle Department, and got my new license. And so we ran some errands, my husband and I, and we came back a couple hours later, and I stopped at the mailbox and let my husband out because we live up a little hill, and to get the mail. And he's like, I said, wouldn't it be cool if my Social Security card came today, like right behind the receipt, right? And he comes back with the mail. He's like, how cool would that be? I'm like, yeah, it's there, hon. He's like, yep, here it is. So I got my Social Security card today, got my driver's license. My name changed on my driver's license today, and was able to get everything back into action. I talked a lot yesterday about how I was in a funk because I was looking at my current reality, and things were kind of feeling like at a standstill because I'm doing a bunch of things and everything. It's like you go in order, right? You have to do this and get that, and you can't do anything until you do this, and you're waiting for that, and you know what I mean. So, and so, I do believe that I've heard Abraham say, like, sometimes there's like a breaking loose of your vibration for things to break loose. Like when you're feeling like in a funk, it's kind of like things are about to happen. I think I've heard that from Abraham. I'm talking about just directly from Abraham, not from just humans that say stuff like that. But you know what I mean? Because it's kind of like, I don't know, I don't want to explain it. But so yeah, I was in a funk for 3 days, looking at my current reality, kind of getting bummed, kind of feeling like a failure, to be honest. And I talked a lot about it yesterday. And I talked about it after I broke that vibration loose. Like I listened to some Abraham. What was it, Wednesday night, and reframed and focused again on what I wanted. And Thursday morning, I woke up in a much better place, and everything just broke loose. The thing was in my mailbox. I was able to continue on, and I did like a bunch of things today. So things were just, I knew that there was going to be a breakthrough. And once that something broke through, like the next step was accomplished, that the rest was just going to happen really quickly. And that's what's been going on today. So keep the hope, keep the faith that things are still working out. When you get into that funk of things aren't moving, what I want isn't here yet. I thought for sure it was going to be here by now. That sort of feeling, like when you're waiting. Like waiting can be it's the hardest part. And there were so many times in the last few weeks, like we're talking at least, for gosh, a couple of months that I've been kind of on and off waiting for things because of the situation that we've been in. You can't just walk into offices anymore and just get things done in one day. Like you have to mail documents off. You have to wait. Like we're in the old age right now of the old times of you had to wait for things. And when we're in a society that we don't ever have to wait for anything, it gets hard when you're waiting weeks, like weeks for things. So anyhow, I've had these moments over the last couple of months of like reminding myself the joys in the journey. Even though there was no joy. And I'm like, okay, I got to find some joy. How do you find joy? Okay, we haven't even started today's thing yet, but you have to look for things that you like. You have to remind yourself of the things that bring you happiness. You know what I mean? Like I feed the birds outside every morning. Really, I feed the chipmunks every morning. When I'm making my breakfast, I go out with this bowl of birdseed and peanuts and a thing of water. And I replenish their water outside and I give them like birdseed all over the place. I found a really good deal on birdseed last month or a couple months ago. And so I really enjoy feeding them. There's an abundance of birds. I have, on any given day, I have 4 to 6 little tiny chipmunks right outside my windows in my backyard, and they love my backyard because I've got a lot of landscaping and big kind of rocks, boulders, like they're mountains for them to run around and jump around and stuff like that. So I get to sit on my couch and watch them play. And so every single morning I go out there and I'm like, "Hey guys," and I tell them to have a good breakfast and see you later and all that stuff. And then I get to see all these birds, mourning doves and mostly quail and the chipmunks. And and I just enjoy that. So all of these things, I you know, play with my dog, I take him for a drive. I do things that bring me happiness when I'm having a moment of like, you know, like, can we get on with what I want to do? Can we, those moments. And I'm like, Heather, you have to enjoy the journey. You have to. So go find something fun to do. Go find anything that you enjoy. Go do that. Okay. So things broke loose this week. I changed my vibration. Things moved really quickly. And I'm back in business. So I'm extremely happy. It's just lots and lots and lots of little details, lots of things that I'm doing. And it's just, I'm looking forward to the future of when everything's complete on these things that I'm doing. And I'm not doing all of these little tiny steps. Anyway, let's get on to today. Thank you guys for being here. My name's Heather Hope, and I talk about the law of attraction. And this podcast is a daily podcast, by the way, if you didn't know already. If you're new here, welcome. I'm, I smile every day that I check my analytics on YouTube. So if you're listening to this on a podcast, awesome. Let me know where you listen to this from. I post this. If you don't know, I post this on my YouTube channel every morning. So I release the podcast just as an FYI. I release the podcast on Anchor every morning. It's scheduled for every morning for 7 a.m. And that is, I want to say Pacific time. I'm in Arizona currently. And half the year we're in Pacific time and half the year we're in Mountain time. Right now I think we're technically in Mountain time, but I like to go by Pacific time. So 7 a.m. at some point anyway, but sometime between like 8 a.m. and noon, it gets posted on YouTube. So if you haven't checked out my YouTube channel, it's called The Inspired Entrepreneur. And it's so you can go back to all the episodes. And if that's easier to access it, wonderful. I welcome you on YouTube because I love YouTube. It's my most favorite platform of any platform besides Google because I love Googling everything. So, so join me over on YouTube. I appreciate it. Um, I really love the platform. So anyway, so I smile every morning when I open my analytics and see, a few more people, a few new subscribers each day. And so, yeah. So this is based off my book called The Inspired Entrepreneur. Everything's called the same thing. You can find it on Amazon, my daily book. So the podcast is me expanding on the thought that I've written in my book. So today's January 9th. For you guys, it's Saturday, January 9th, 2021. Let's get to it. Focus on the future that you want. When you focus on your current reality, that becomes your future. Okay, very similar message as yesterday. I can tell when I've been on a roll on a certain thing, like I'll be thinking about a particular topic for a few days. Now, most of these came from my Facebook page. Probably about 2/3 of these came from my Facebook page. And so these could have been all written in one day, like 5 of them in one day with the current, with that same, type of thought. Anyway, focus on the future that you want. Okay, let me tell you something that I'm doing. One of my daily practices. This is the thing that I'm committed to every single day. Like I don't skip a day. So a few weeks ago, I felt like going to Goodwill, and I looked at their books, and I picked up the book. I have it right here. It's called Goals. It's from Brian Tracy. If you don't follow, I say I don't follow anybody, which is really nice. I really don't follow. I follow very few people these days. Very, very, very few. Like consistently, no one, like other than Abraham. But anyway, so I picked up this book. I picked it up because something drew me to it. Either it was the formatting of the book because I was thinking about my next book, but there was something about it that I just needed to get it. So I brought it home and I read some stuff for like 2 nights in a row. And there's one thing that Brian talks about. Brian talks about writing like 10 things, like a goal list of 10 things every day. And just keep writing and don't look at the previous day. Just keep writing like at least 10 to 15 things that you want to accomplish. And he's like, within like 30 days, you're going to get a good grasp of the things that you really want. Because, if it's still being written every day, then it's something you really desire. Anyhow, that's not really the most important part, but he talks about writing affirmations, writing it as present tense, writing it. Basically, we're talking about focus here. We're talking about deciding what you want. What is your desire? What do you desire in your life? And focusing on it by writing it every single morning. And so he says to do that. So I resonated with that. So I grabbed a brand new journal that I had on my bookcase, and I started it. I started it on December 22nd. And I said I wanted to do this. So I have like 300 and something pages in this notebook, and I'm like, I'm going to do this for the entire year of 2021, but I'm going to start early. So I've done it every day since December 22nd. It's the only thing, guys, that I have done consistently in the past 2-3 weeks, how long it's been, 2 weeks. The only thing. I have not meditated daily. I have not done my stuff daily. I haven't done anything else consistently other than this. This is what I'm committed to. Don't ask me why. I enjoy it. So it's easy. So I do it every morning, probably within the first half hour of waking up, sitting at my desk. So I just write my top 10 for 2021. And I wrote them all in present tense. And each day I write my list. Occasionally I have looked in the day before just to see if I'm missing, because I'm locked in. I am so locked in on these 10, it's like 10, 11, 12 things. I'm locked in on these things. Like these are the things that I am desiring now this year. So there's no wavering at this point for this stuff. So, so this morning I've been writing my top 10-ish because it's like 10, 11, mostly 10, but my top 10-ish goals. I used the word goals up until this morning for 2021. And so this morning I wrote, yesterday I wrote my top 10-ish goals for 2021 / this year, because it's no longer like next year. It's this year. It's like now. So this morning I wrote my top 10 manifestations that happened this year. Okay, so I followed my inspiration this morning while I was writing the heading of my page. And that's what I wrote. I didn't want to write goals anymore. I just wrote my top 10. I'm not going to say 10-ish probably anymore because it's just whatever. It's 10 or whatever. My top 10 manifestations that happened this year. So as I was writing this, I was thinking more about what if I wrote this every day as if it's the end of the year and I'm just recapping what happened this year, right? Tell me how that feels. Because on YouTube, of course, I'm an Abraham Hicks fanatic, and I listen to them multiple times a day if I can. But another one lately has been Neville Goddard. And, you know, clicking on a video here and there or something that pops up. If you hear something in the background, it's my dog. He's making a spot on the carpet, like he's scratching. So that's what came to my mind of like, okay, recapping the year. Like say it's at the end of the year and I'm like, these are the 10 things that happened this year. And it's really cool. Let me write it in my journal. So if you're curious, I'm pretty sure I can share these without feeling any certain way. Okay. So I write it in current, present tense. And I think I made something like kind of past tense. Okay. And I don't write it in any particular order, just whatever comes to my mind. Some of these I might leave out. But the first one this morning I wrote, I am a millionaire. I've been writing that daily. I am a millionaire. I added to it. I changed some things today. I became a millionaire this year. 2021 was my year. I became a millionaire this year. Number 2, I drive. So I write, I drive / own. Because Brian says he drives whatever. And I'm like, well, I can drive a car. Like I can go test drive. But it's like, I sometimes my mind is like, I want to get very specific about this. Even though the universe knows what I'm saying. It understands what I'm saying. Like if I'm going to drive it, that means I'm going to own it. This is the car I want. So I drive / own a beautiful silver Bentley coupe. That's the car that I'm getting. I have those pictures of silver Bentley on my vision board that sits on my desk. And that's the car that I test drove. I test drove it like over a year ago. It was towards the end of 2019. I test drove a silver Bentley coupe, and it was beautiful, and it was solid, and it didn't feel like a sports car per se, because it's a solid built car. It's just so much about it. I remember, and I took pictures behind the wheel, took pictures of the exterior. The whole time I was driving it, I was feeling it as much as I could of what it feels like to drive that car. So anytime I think about it, I'm right there with my husband, just explaining to him how it feels to drive this car. So it's pretty cool. So, and the house that we've chosen in Paradise Valley, it has a name. I live at Bella Paradiso in Paradise Valley. That's my new home. And then I also added that's Momo's new house. This house that we live in is my dog's house. Like, and I call him Momo half the time. I call him a lot of things, but this was the first house he knew when he was a baby. I think, if I remember right. Maybe it was. No, it was. We were up here. And so it's the house he grew up in. And then when I moved back down to Phoenix for a year with my grandmother to have her close to a hospital, and then I moved back up here. The first day I brought him back into the house was empty because I had it completely moved out. I brought him back in, and I don't think I've ever seen him more joyous than that day. I didn't expect his reaction to be so great. But in that moment, I knew this was his house. I'm like, holy crap. He was so happy. Like, because we were in a small apartment for that 1 year, and this house is 5,200 square feet. So he loves to run around the house. He was so happy. So I call this Momo's house. So the new house is Momo's new house. He loves anything new. So if I say like new, like when we cook his food for the week, it's like new food. It's like, and he loves it. Anything new he loves. So anyway, so the house has a name. It's Bella Paradiso. It's Italian, obviously. My husband is Italian. That's pretty cool. So anyway, and Bella Paradiso means beautiful paradise or pretty paradise or heaven paradise or whatever. So what's really funny about Bella Paradiso is in my journal, if you went through my journal from the past year, I have been writing, I live in a beautiful house in Paradise Valley. And when I realized that the house that we chose, its name is Bella Paradiso, and when I really when I translated it for sure, just to make sure I knew what it meant, I was like, oh my God, that's right. I've been writing, I live in a beautiful home in Paradise Valley. And it's just so cool. I love those little things that translate the manifestations, because it's like, really, I've been writing a beautiful or gorgeous home in Paradise Valley. It's really cool. I love that. Okay, so another thing I write is I also live and vacation at our oceanfront Pismo Beach home with gorgeous views. That's all I wrote. I also live and vacation at our oceanfront Pismo Beach home. So that's our other place that we are planning on living. So yeah, we chose, it's so beautiful. So I kind of think about that for a minute when I write it. Number 5, I'm a well-known author with a couple of best-selling books this year. This year was great. So that's a desire of mine. Well-known author. I don't necessarily want to be known for anything else. Like, I was a coach and I don't want to do that anymore. So I love writing and I love being an author. And I would love to just be known for that, as one of the things that I do. And then kind of a more short-term thing. I said, I allowed in, and I changed the wording on this. I allowed it because I did say before, I allow in, like as in current present tense. So since we're going past tense on some of these, I said, I allowed in $12,000 a month by March, and it increased each month. So I added that part. It increased each month. So I was kind of thinking, 20, 25,000, and then even combined, like that's what we're working towards in the things that we're, both my husband and I are starting a business doing the same thing. And, making 12,000 a month is pretty super common. So anyhow, so I wrote, I allowed in $12,000 a month by March, and it increased each month. It feels really good to write that or say it. Number 7, I run massively successful businesses doing all kinds of things that I enjoy. Like I've been talking a lot about just, I love doing multiple things. I love it. I love it for so many reasons because, well, one thing is I get bored doing the same exact thing every day. I get bored, I just get bored. I have so many different interests that I decided to just jump in with everything. And the nice thing about that is like doing a podcast, a daily podcast, writing, publishing books, all of that stuff, or coaching. Let's say you're just a coach and you just focus on coaching. When you put all of your eggs in one basket, like all of your energy in one thing, and if it's not it's not working yet, like it's not lined up or it's not feeling like, you know what I mean? Like there's a lot of pressure on it. There's a lot of resistance there. So I told my husband over dinner tonight, I'm like, like some of these things I feel like are just going to happen. Like the well-known author having best-selling books throughout the year, because I want to publish a lot more books this year. And then I have another one that I write. I have 1,000 daily podcast listeners. I have 1,000 daily podcast listeners now. So that was a goal that I was inspired to a couple weeks ago or last month or whatever. And like I feel like those things are going to just keep happening, keep growing. And one day they're just going to be like this normal thing. Like book sales increase, listeners increase, all of that's just increasing because it is. But it's just going to increase without me really putting a whole lot of like attention on it specifically. Like I do my morning writing about it, but I'm busy doing multiple other things on my list, like the real estate stuff and the mortgage stuff and all this stuff. And it takes my attention, which is good, because when you're only focused on one thing for a business or one thing to make money, it puts a lot of pressure on that one thing. Let me know if you can relate to that, because I felt that pressure as a coach a lot. Like if you're not seeing the needle move every day, it can get kind of like there's too much pressure on it. There's too much resistance. So for me, backing off completely and focusing on these other things has grown these other things. Like everything, it's grown everything, because my resistance isn't there anymore. Like I'm talking on my podcast because I've committed to a year, because it's a year-long book, right? So I'm committed to it. I enjoy it. I set aside the time for it every week. But there's no other pressure on it, right? So if I was just trying to make money doing a podcast, right, which is not what I'm doing, if that's all I focused on, I mean, for me, that'd be too much pressure. I like doing multiple things. So if you're doing one thing in your business, like you just have one thing as your business, and you feel like it's not moving, I'm not making any money, and there's a lot of pressure, a lot of resistance there, take some of that attention off of it and do something you enjoy, whatever it is. Like if there's something in the back of your mind, like I know there's a bunch of you who want to write a book, start writing the book. Don't worry about taking your attention or taking your energy or taking your time away from the one thing and putting it somewhere else that you want to put it. Don't be freaked out about that, because I guarantee you it's going to help take the pressure off of that. It's going to take the pressure off. Okay, let me continue. Let's see. Okay, so I'm a lottery winner. And so I won a multi-million-dollar lottery. I crossed out I and I put we because we both play the lottery. My husband has a guy that likes buying him lottery tickets. And as soon as I heard that, I was like, this guy's he's gonna give us a winning lottery ticket. So he gave me some lottery tickets, and I just checked him today, and one of them I did win. It's like 3 out of 6 numbers won, and I gave it back to Roger, and I'm like, this guy's gonna give us the winning lottery ticket. I just know it. He's gonna be our cooperating component, because he told him originally, he's like, I just like spreading, happiness and buying people lottery tickets, and you don't have to give me anything if you win, blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, this guy's going to be it. So, so I wrote, we won a multi-million-dollar lottery. We have millions in our bank accounts now. Okay. And then the last one basically is a weight goal. So I write, I weigh 190. And one of the things that I decided I wanted to do was get a tummy tuck this year and a breast augmentation. Now, I know that might be a lot of information, but whatever. Just because I found a really amazing surgeon in Scottsdale, like nicely. I found him on Instagram or YouTube or something. And the transformations are amazing. So I weigh 190 and I got a tummy tuck and breast augmentation. I feel great. Now I got to tell you, because I mean, I've been doing Weight Watchers for the last 3 months now. So the last couple of weeks, I have noticed my stomach getting smaller, like it has been. It's always like the first place I lose weight. But when I go out and do errands, I've been noticing it in the mirror, like more in the last week. And I'm like, I feel like, I'm just going to say it, I feel like I've already had the tummy tuck. Like that's what I'm starting to feel like. Because I've been writing it. I've been writing it for 2 weeks now. And I'm like, I feel like this is like almost becoming like it's already done. Like it's already like really done. And so whatever, it's just really cool. I noticed it yesterday when I went out shopping. My clothes felt really good. My stomach felt a lot flatter. And I looked in the mirror. I'm like, holy crap. You know, it was one of those moments of like when you look in the mirror a lot because you like what you see and you're just like, wow, where'd this come from? That's what it was yesterday and today. And I was really happy about that because I'm like, oh, here we go. This is awesome. And 190 for me is like really pretty skinny. Like I have a lot of lean muscle. So 190 is like, I'm a size, last time I was at 190, I was like a size 10, 12, which is pretty skinny for me. Anyway, lots of information there. So I've been doing that every day. So I've been focusing on the future that I want every morning. And then last night, what I ended up doing, because I leave a space in between each item. Last night, kind of right before I was closing out my office here, I rewrote the statement underneath the one I wrote in the morning. So, because I think Brian said to do it twice a day, like in the morning, once at night. And I just did it in the morning, and days are really long for me. And so last night I just felt inspired to do it again. And I may do that. We'll see. So that's what I've been doing. I think it's amazing. I think it's really cool. And I'm working more on that, thinking like we're recapping 2021. And I like that because it's really pretty me at the end of the year that this stuff is what happened this year. Instead of like, this is the stuff that I want to happen this year, like moving forward. Like these are the things that it's in present tense. Like I am a millionaire in 2021, or I am a millionaire this year, still feels like it's like a forward moving goal. And if I say I'm a millionaire, this is what happened this year. This is the recap of 2021. These are the really cool things that I'm sharing that happened this year. Let me tell you about them. These are the things that were the 10 really cool things that happened in 2021. These are the things. Like if somebody interviewed you and said, "Hey, tell me the coolest things, the cool things that happened this year." It's at the end of December 2021 and you're being interviewed and and you have to think back and you're like, well, this is the year I became a millionaire. This is the year I actually won the lottery. That's pretty cool. My husband and I, and you know, if that's something, you just play it out. I don't know if that's something that you'd want to tell interviewers, but anyway, or like that you moved into your dream home. The Villa Paradiso is 20,000 square feet. It's a really big house, but I really love it. And I look at it every single day. I have the video up on in one of my tabs of the realtor who had the listing. He shows, the whole thing. And I have the realtor website up in my tabs. So those are tabs that are never closed. And I just throughout the day kind of click on them and just look a little bit more. Like I pinpoint the entire floor plan of a house that I want. Like I look at every single picture, every video. I'm like trying to figure out the exact floor plan. To like, I'm such a stalker on houses. I'm a real estate stalker. That's why I need to be a realtor part-time. But in that neighborhood. But like last night, I made my husband come out of his office and come into mine and show him where his bar and pool table is in the house because I figured it out. I couldn't figure it out before. And then where the dining room is from there. So I'm like showing him and he thinks that's pretty cool. But I'm like, just to have that visual. So when you walk through your house in your mind, you know exactly where everything is. And I told him, I'm like, in the kitchen's enormous. I couldn't find the refrigerator for like 2 days. Like I couldn't figure out where it was. There's a butler's pantry or chef's kitchen, whatever it's called to the side. And I'm like, where's the refrigerator? And then in the video for like the next day, I was like, I saw it. It was such a split second. I found it. As I showed it to him, like I found where it's just, so I told you my days are long. I have a lot of time to do such interesting things, but I have a lot of fun with it, and that's all that matters. But so the house is 20,000 square feet. We drove past it last week. I showed him where it was because I've seen it before in person through my drives when I drive through that area. So I took him down last weekend to go see it, and it was like a cloudy day, which is odd for Phoenix. And so it looked kind of dirty. It looked like it was not lived in at all because all the blinds or all of the drapes were closed and stuff. But then you drive to the front of the house or the front, like where the front door is, which is in front of the mountain. There's all these cars in the driveway. I'm like, oh, there's people there. It just looked like there wasn't anybody there. Anyhow, and I had mentioned that it was off the market. Like there was no realtor sign, which really blew me away because it's been on the market for like 2 years. And I'm like, huh. And so it just was taken off the market. It did not sell. So coming off the market really made me happy because I know anything can happen at this point. And I have this vision. We joke about it, that, I know it's in a scene. Oh, it's in that movie, that J-Lo movie where she's with the abusive husband, where the narcissistic husband who, she likes a house in the neighborhood and they walk up to it and the guy's like buys it from the couple, if you know what I'm talking about. I've always had this vision that somebody's going to walk up to my house and say they want to buy it. Well, the house is going to be up for sale in the next couple of months, but so we joke about that we're just going to walk up to the door and say we want to buy your house. But for the house to be off the market currently, I am stoked. I'm stoked that it wasn't sold because I've had houses that I wanted to sell while it was on the market. It sold and I didn't buy it. So, but this time around, I'm like, anything is possible. It could have just been off. I don't know what the story is, but they could just take it off the market for a little while. Maybe the owner is the developer, and maybe she's going to be out of town for a while. Who knows what the story is, but it didn't sell yet. Maybe it's going to be reduced. It was like 12,999. She originally had it 2 years ago on the market for 22,888,000. Tell me she's not into numbers. That's funny. 22,888. And she reduced it eventually got down to 12,900. So maybe she'll reduce it again to something else. Anyway, who knows? But all I know is that anything's possible. And the strongest vibration wins. And I have a very strong vibration, so we shall see. Anyway, guys, okay, so that's what I do every day. I thought I might share that with you, considering it relates to our message for today. Focus on the future that you want. When you focus on your current reality, that becomes your future. You just keep reliving the same day, same year, same month, whatever, right? So you have to have that dedicated focus. Have just a dedicated time every single day, some kind of practice. You can use the 30 days to manifest your success journal that I have on Amazon, or you just get a journal out and you just write a list of things that you want to happen this year. So we're planning next year already. 2022 is going to be an amazing travel year. I believe we're going to be able to travel next year a lot more than we are now. And I'm envisioning weekends again, going to Abraham workshops. Let me know down below if you're going to meet me somewhere at an Abraham workshop, because I would love to meet you. And I want to go to a lot of those. And I am thinking we're thinking of going to Spain for my birthday in 2022 in May, and then Italy in September for my husband's birthday in 2022. So I'm excited. And so today I was working on my passport, changing that name. I have to send that stuff in too. So anyhow, let me know some things if you want to share some of the things that you're going to write if you're going to start doing your list of manifestations for this year. Do it from like you're telling me that it's done, like it happened. It's already done, like physically done. Okay, guys, I'm gonna let you go so I can breathe because I just held my breath for too long. And I will talk to you again tomorrow. Bye, guys.